enter in my room, no trace left here of you. Cold call another person or two, seems like I'm the only one home. Aligned with the sun, shadows on everyone, no reason to run, hide out inside. Just stay at home, so lost and alone. Be here, unknown, don't tell a soul. Bad taste, can't seem to get it out. Blank space where you shut my mouth. Filled yours with love to spit it out. I thought we wanted the same thing. Trust me, it's alright. Goodbye. Now let me try to sleep, but don't care to say goodnight. It would be a lie. Another fleeting dream. Trust me, it's alright. Goodbye. You never meant anything. You mean nothing to me. Just stay at home, so lost and alone. Be here, unknown, don't tell a soul. Been so down since you left, can't get out of this hole. Stay safe at home, so lost and alone. Rodri's on fire, your defense is terrified.
Rodri's on fire! Your defense is terrified!
Come on, boys! I can't hear you! Come on!
Rodri's on fire!
Yes, boys. Rodri, Ballon d'Or winner. The first ever Manchester City player to ever win the Ballon d'Or. The first Spanish player since 1960 to win the Ballon d'Or. The first Premier League player to win the Ballon d'Or since 2008. The first non-Real Madrid Barcelona player to win since 2008. And probably the first ever player on crutches to also win the Ballon d'Or. In today's show, which is very unexpected, normally 12 o'clocks on Tuesdays are preserved for the Knobcast, but Gasky's not available, and anyway, I thought it'd be interesting to talk about this because it's obviously a pretty big situation. But yeah, let's get fire in the chat. Yeah, thank you guys. Let's get fire in the chat for Rodri's fantastic achievement. In today's show, we're going to, as I said, we're going to be discussing the just like Rodri winning it in general and why he deserves to win it. Like, like the discourse around here, who should have won it. Well, I'll be putting forward the case that Rodri is the deserved winner. We'll be discussing the shocking, well, I say I can't believe the reaction from Real Madrid, but sort of can believe it. We'll be discussing that as well, like the literal crybaby behaviour from the biggest club in the world. It's literally pathetic and embarrassing. We'll be talking about that. We'll also, I think, be discussing just how good Rodri is, but also we'll be discussing, like the potential impact on City as a club, as an institution, and what it actually means, because it means a lot from a City perspective. I mean, obviously we want our players to do well on an individual level, of course, but also wider picture. That means that City now are only the fourth ever English club to actually have one of their players win the Ballon d'Or. We joined, Blackpool won it with Stanley Matthews, the first ever one. Then then Manchester United won it, with Charlton, Best, Law, and obviously later Ronaldo. And Liverpool won it with Michael Owen. And now City have won it. So there's only 4 teams
who in England anyway who have ever been able to do that. So we're talking about, you know, what does that actually mean from a City perspective and like a club-wise perspective as well. As always, this is an interactive show, and that's a very good point by GGM. Where does this rank in City's history? We'll be talking about, you know, that, because lots of people have suggested, you know, is Rodri now is he the biggest City legend? We'll be talking about that and many more things. As always, this is a conversational show, so please feel free to get involved in the chat. As always, we'll be doing back and forth. I have donned my special treble winning top today, just as a celebration perspective, because it's not something that I was expecting to be discussing or celebrating, to be honest. The fact that Rodri had won the Ballon d'Or, I thought it was basically locked in that Vinicius had won it. I thought that's what the journalists were reporting, but obviously it wasn't until the morning of that they were reporting that Real Madrid were being little babies about it. And as I understand it, I mean, we'll have a specific section about Real Madrid being children, but just on that, as I understand it, the reason why, or the reason how, the exactly respect Stanley Matthews in 1956, I think it was, who won it, the first ever winner, and obviously Blackpool, Liverpool, City, and United, the only clubs there. Yeah, that's what I was going to say just before we get onto the Rodri situation, is that, as I understand it, it wasn't even like the journalists who revealed this morning that Rodri was going to win. What the journalists revealed was that Real Madrid weren't turning up. Now, I might need to double check that, but so as I understand it, it was actually Real Madrid who soured any sort of like suspense for the evening. You know, had Real Madrid turned up and not been children about it, maybe that news wouldn't have been leaked, because I don't think the news was actually leaked that Rodri's definitely won it. I think the news was leaked that Real Madrid aren't turning up because they've been told they aren't winning it. So they can also hold themselves to blame in terms of not creating as much suspense. Because can you imagine how brilliant last evening would have been from like a neutral perspective? Everyone really thinks Vinicius is going to win it. Then out of nowhere, Rodri wins it. It would be absolute carnage and chaos. It would have actually been a really entertaining evening. But hey, Real Madrid denied us of that. I don't really care, because I was just happy that Rodri won. But from a neutral perspective, it would have been interesting. Please make sure to leave a like on the video, guys, by the way, whilst you are joining in. And again, remember to get involved in the chat, because I will be going back to a lot of your comments and thoughts as we go through. We do already have 115 people watching, which is quite apt, isn't it? Let's first of all talk about the conversation of who deserved to win the Ballon d'Or. Let's go through the timeline, shall we? And you guys can correct me if I'm wrong at any stage. So, the way I saw it, at the end of the club season, was that it was basically up in the air in terms of who could have won it. I think that, realistically, any of these names would have been a fair candidate based on what happened in the international scene. So, Vinicius, Bellingham, Foden, Rodri, Harry Kane, even Wirtz, I think, would have been a reasonable shout, because all of them had very, very good performances for their club. From a City perspective, of course, Rodri was fantastic, but I think a lot of us think that Foden was our best player. Real Madrid, again, Bellingham and Vinicius, they couldn't quite figure out who had the better season. I think that Bellingham probably had the better season, but Vinicius had the better moments in the latter stages of the Champions League. Kane broke goal-scoring records, didn't win anything, but on an individual level, broke a lot of individual records. And Wirtz, of course, did madness with Germany. So, you know, for example, if Germany won the Euros and Wirtz was player of the tournament, I think he'd have a very strong case. Likewise, you know, if like any of the England lads won the tournament and had a very strong tournament, then maybe they would have had a case. Likewise, you know, with Vinicius, had Brazil won the Copa America and Vinicius been like the star player, then it would have been him. I think that, as I say, at the end of the, and there may be some other names there, but basically what I'm trying to say is at the end of the club season, there were a number of legitimate winners. And I don't think anyone, it was unusual, because most of the time you go, he's going to win it, it's locked in, that's going to happen. There's an obvious winner. But this time there really wasn't. So it was genuinely up for grabs. And it seemed to, from my perspective anyway, seemed to come down to how players would perform on the international stage. I don't think that's an unfair thing to say. I don't think, again, even Real Madrid fans weren't going, yeah, Vinicius will definitely win it. I think at the time, they were saying Bellingham was the one more likely to win it. So, again, all up in the air. And then what happened at the international tournament? Well, England flopped, so no England player is going to be involved, essentially. Wirtz did well with Germany, but maybe not well enough. Vinicius was not good with Brazil. I don't think Vinicius Jr. won a game with Brazil, I think. I think that... Or something like that. There was some mental stat. Maybe it was that he didn't score, or he was basically terrible every single game, and he didn't even play a knockout. Maybe that was the stat. He didn't even play a knockout game because he was suspended for the quarterfinals, I think it was. And then a lot of people were saying, well, he was suspended. That's not his fault. I was like, well, it sort of is his fault because he got suspended. So he didn't even play a knockout game in the Copa America, and when he did play, he was poor. I think Savio outshined him, for example. Conversely, so all the England lads are out. Yeah, so we're not even entertaining Foden, Bellingham, or Kane. We're not really entertaining Wirtz because Germany got knocked out by Spain. So that leaves us with, okay, who's the Spanish candidate? Oh, it's Rodri. Now, what? So we've already established that Rodri was one of the best players in the Premier League last season. For me, second best. For me, Vinicius was probably Real Madrid's second best Real Madrid player last season. So, as it stands, similar in terms of like what they've similar in terms of performance. We can also take a look at trophies. Vinicius won the Spanish equivalent of the Community Shield in the Spanish Super Cup. He won La Liga, of course, and he won the Champions League. And the big one is the Champions League. Now let's compare that to Rodri. What did he win? So Rodri, because obviously trophies do come into it. Well, Rodri won. He won. So Vinicius has got 3 there, hasn't he? So Rodri won the UEFA Super Cup and the Club World Cup. Okay, you can count those as one if you want because they're only Super Cups, but still he did win them. He obviously won the Premier League, so that basically that cancels out the Super Cup and the middle finger. It cancels out the Super Cup and it cancels out the La Liga win. You could say there's another one there, but what Vinicius had was the Champions League, of course. Rodri didn't win that, but what did Rodri win with Spain, being one of their most important players and one of their best players? And whether you think he deserved it or not, he did win Player of the Tournament. He won the Euros. So, in respect of trophy haul, technically Rodri won more, but in terms of like the one of importance cancelling the other out, they're basically, you could actually argue that they are equal in a way, but obviously Rodri won one more. Carvajal, we're not entertaining Carvajal. This is not Jorginho. This is Jorginho syndrome. No, chill out. So that was going into the... So in respect to trophy haul, that was the situation. And now let's take a look at what did Rodri do for those trophies. Well, as we've established, he was City's most important player. I don't think he was the best player, but he was certainly the most important player. And I'd argue he was the second best player in the Premier League overall. So he's got that going for him. One of Spain's most important players also. And we also need to consider the fact that this guy, Rodri, was taking on the burden of 2 players last season, basically. Taking on the burden of 2 roles last season. He was being Rodri and Gundogan at the same time. And you'll know this, having watched my title tactics analysis video. So he was taking on the role of a 6 and an 8. We all call him a defensive midfielder, but we all know that, certainly from a City perspective last season, he was not playing as a pure 6. There was far more to his game than that. So being 2 players at once is pretty staggering. And in respect of, I know that it doesn't all come down to goals and assists, but it is really interesting to see. In fact, I don't want to get this wrong. Let me actually have a look, because I don't actually know how different their stats are in respect of direct goal scoring. Certainly from a relative perspective, the fact that one is a far deeper player and one is an offensive wise player. We are going to double check that. We're going to check that right now. Again, I don't want to get anything wrong. I don't want to misquote anything. So if we go to the relevant season was 23-24, of course it was, and let's go to 23, 24. Don't worry, guys. We'll get into Real Madrid being absolute crybabies. Don't you worry about that. Don't you worry. Don't you worry, child. So what have we got? So what is that? I can do maths. I'm a clever boy. What is that? So 23 versus, what is that, 35. So I mean, considering that we are comparing a defensive midfielder to what's supposed to be a high scoring goals and assists wide player, it's pretty interesting. In that respect, the difference proportionally isn't even that much. Venecerian, I can tell that you're one of those crybaby Real Madrid fans. If you don't chill out, you are going to get, exactly, Jack will time you out for being a crybaby bitch. So, really, and I know you want to embody your club of being a petulant, whingy little schoolgirl, but if you could just reel it in for a moment, that would be lovely. Someone also did a really funny, again, you know, it sounds harsh, it sounds like I'm having a go at this, and I'm not, but it is just really funny that the amount of players, who actually, you know, got more goals and assists than Vinicius last season was absolutely staggering. I think he was below Mateta in respect of like a league football or something, which is really, really interesting. It was really, really interesting. And it just goes to show that Vinicius, if you watch Real Madrid last season, and I did watch enough, because I was actually interested in Real Madrid last season, because I was interested to see how Bellingham would get on. So I did watch a lot of Real Madrid, particularly in that first half of the season. And Vinicius was not particularly good. He was not particularly good in that first half of the season, to be honest with you. But he was much better in the second half, and most importantly, from his perspective, he did well in the knockout stages of the Champions League. But we've got to remember that this is the Ballon d'Or is given to the player of the season, the best player of the season. So and people say, oh, well, he missed 2 months. Well, that's irrelevant. That's irrelevant because this isn't the award given to, you know, best performances per 90. It's best performances throughout the entirety of the season. So it's all well and good saying, well, he missed out on 2 months. Oh, okay, boo-hoo. Sounds like a him problem. Rodri didn't. I thought that availability was one of the best abilities, etc., etc. So there's no, for me, there's no world in which Rodri shouldn't have won. But what I will say is that had Vinicius won, it wouldn't have been like a travesty to football, if you get what I mean. Like, it's fine that he's second, for example, and it wouldn't be like this disastrous situation had Vinicius won it. And this brings me, I think, next to the sort of weird Rodri revisionism that's been going on over the past 24 hours or so. This Vinicius clearly deluded because I don't think they even beat us last season. In fact, they didn't. It was 2 draws. So, Jack, you just like time out this crybaby, thank you, because clearly he doesn't understand reality, and I'm bored now. Shoo. Jack, just time him out. That'd be great, thank you. Really embodying your club, though. I respect it, embodying your club by having no class and being a crybaby. So fair play, respect. Yeah, Matty says Bellingham's better than Vinny. Yeah, I would probably agree, but Vinicius got the knockout stage Champions League goals, so that's why that's a thing. Yeah, but you couldn't begrudge him, could you? And this is where it comes to the Rodri revisionism. People crying, saying that Rodri's was apparently not even good last season, and that he was nowhere near being able to win the Ballon d'Or. And then you've got Real Madrid players coming out and tweeting, basically suggesting that the winner got robbed, and that it's a disgusting situation to be in, etc. Like, I know Chouameni did it, and Camavinga did it, and I think that that Arda Güler did it also. They're acting like Flamengo did. They're acting like he died, or they're acting like it's the biggest. They're acting like it's the biggest robbery in football history. First of all, it's not a robbery, full stop, because Rodri deserved to win the Ballon d'Or, so we'll be having less of that. But in the second instance, it's not even like the biggest, quote, robbery in the past year. Literally, the previous year, 22-23, when Haaland clearly was the winner, and was clearly the best player in the season. How did Haaland react? He congratulated Messi in like an Instagram post or whatever it was. He's saying, "Well done, mate." Or I'm paraphrasing there. Did he have a cry? And did he turn and did he have a paddy and not turn up? And did he do some weird cryptic tweet where he said something like, I'm gonna be 10 times better or something? Why don't you like congratulate your fellow professional in the first instance before bigging yourself up? Or why don't you word it like, congratulations to Rodri, I'm going to work even harder now to try to win it next season, or something like that. The lack of class is disgraceful, to be honest. And it's not only a club situation, is it? Because if it was just a club who, like, and Perez, who was like, I'm not going to send any Real Madrid people to the ceremony, then it would be like, okay, well, the owners are knobheads. Sorry, the club presidents are knobheads, but the players can't really do anything about it. But the fact that players are coming out and doing this as well, it just screams petulance and a really weak. It screams loser mentality, to be honest. And that sounds quite funny coming from Real Madrid players who you associate with having fantastic winning mentalities. But this is a victim, loser, baby boy mentality, isn't it? And it just really is embarrassing, to be honest. And also, like, lots of their like players / the club / the manager, they won awards at the ceremony. Like Ancelotti won manager, best manager. He shouldn't have done, but he did. And Real Madrid won club of the year. And Mbappe won like the joint Gerd Muller trophy with Harry Kane. So they won stuff. They just didn't turn up to even get them. It's really weird. It is a massive L mentality. And again, if you don't win, you can be disappointed and you can be upset. But what you mustn't do is be disrespectful to a fellow professional. It's just shocking behaviour. And surely from a Rodri perspective, and I tweeted about this, surely, because Real Madrid want Rodri. Like, this is so funny. They were on their knees begging for him to join the club, like in recent months. They've been linked to him. And of course, they're desperate for him, because why wouldn't you want the best defensive midfielder in the world, but by a fair margin, in your team? He would take you up another level, of course. They've just massively alienated him. I know that Rodri doesn't have social media, but he will have seen the empty seats. He'll have seen the Bellingham and Mbappe and Vinicius not turning up, and no Real Madrid's delegates turning up. And he will surely see that as a massive insult to him. I would. Anyway, like, that's a potential future employer right there. And what they're basically doing is saying that not only do we not think you were good enough last season to win the Ballon d'Or, we think that you were so shit that this is the worst robbery in Ballon d'Or history, to the point where we are going to take an unprecedented decision to not send any delegates to the ceremony. It is embarrassing. And there is surely, yes, exactly, Samir, surely there is no world in which Rodri looks at that club as, a club with class and a club where he would want to be represented by. I know he's obviously also got the Atletico Madrid connections, but also the way he talked about City as well. I know he's got to talk about City in that way because it's, it's an award, it's an acceptance ceremony. But like the way he said, this is the best club in the world, coupled with that awful, embarrassing response by Real Madrid and its players, because Rodri might not have social media, but you better believe that, his partner, or everyone, people at the club, like Bernardo Silva in particular, who we know is a massive troll, for a fact that they are saying, do you know what, Tchouaméni said about this, and Camavinga, and Ancelotti, and Vinicius himself? Do you know what they've basically been chatting shit about you, mate, to be honest. You shouldn't be going there. So, hopefully, I'm sort of glad they were disrespectful in a way, because now surely he's not going to go to that club out of, being disrespected. It's very unusual behaviour. Very unusual. And once again, the whole Twitter reaction, people saying that he's not good enough to win it, people crying about it and complaining, people saying, oh, football's finished, etc. Well, first of all, to those people, I say, right, well, you probably didn't watch much of Man City last season if you actually think Rodri winning is a travesty. I don't like to view football through the lens of, goals and assists, but these people do. If you just want to look at that, look at the amount of match winners that Rodri was responsible for. I know that previous seasons aren't particularly relevant, but we know what sort of match winner this guy is. Look at games against Arsenal. Look at the Champions League final, for Christ's sake. This is a player who is a difference maker and can win football matches in terms of the direct output. We know for already that he can win it without doing that, but for these people who view football through that lens, they don't even have an excuse. It's really weird. And it's all well and good bringing up past brilliant Ballon d'Or top 10s and going, well, you know, this player wouldn't have got in here in this year. Well, that's fine, but we're in 2024, so it's irrelevant. And what I would also say on that is that lots of these exciting players are in their early 20s, in fairness. So lots of people saying football's finished, blah, 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 blah. A lot of these, the talent pool currently in football right now is very young. You know, you think of like lots of City players who are young. You know, Haaland, Foden. You think of Arsenal players like Saka. You think of Bellingham, Palmer, Liao. There's loads. Yamal. He's only 17 years old. There are loads of talented young players. So people saying, "Oh, football's finished," they need to chill out, to be honest, because I think we're in a weird transitional phase. And in a few years, I think that we will be talking about players at that level. Real Madrid are absolute bitch baby crybabies, and they can hold that. To be honest, you can't have everything go your way. Guess what? Even if you didn't have it go your way, you can at least have the common courtesy to turn up and show some respect and a modicum of class and decorum, instead of being a crybaby bitch baby about it, to be honest. I was very well within my right to be annoyed that Haaland didn't win it last year, and I didn't complain and bitch and moan the level that Real Madrid are as a club and institution, and some of the moronic Real Madrid fans online as well. The amount of entitlement is hilarious, and it's embarrassing, and they just need to have like a bit of a reality check and hold that, to be honest. Hold that. You got beaten by the better player. Hold that. Yes? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Should we maybe catch up on... I could maybe catch up on the chat, or shall we maybe talk about what it means for City, in a way? Or maybe I'll get your... No, we'll go to the chat first, and then we'll talk about what it actually means for Manchester City as a club and an institution. So let's go to the chat, shall we? These Carvajal shouts are hilarious. Yeah, I've no idea where that's come from, because no Real Madrid fan at any stage, at any point, has ever entertained the notion of Carvajal winning the Ballon d'Or. It is, quite frankly, pathetic that they've opted to try to use the Jorginho defence. That's all it really is, to be honest. If anyone says Carvajal, they literally do not have their brain switched on, or it's set to 1. You need to turn that shit up to 11, to be honest, or get like a transplant and sort yourself out, because there's no way that you are a sane human being. Yes, we'll definitely talk about that, Nitin. 100%. Keep that comment for me later, because I definitely do want to talk about that. 100%. KB should have won Ballon d'Or in 2018, says Nick. De Bruyne was definitely good enough to have won one. It definitely to have won one, but that is a thing. Godfrey, good name. Rodri winning Ballon d'Or will inspire Haaland too. Yeah, we'll definitely touch on that and the impact on City 100%. People refuse to acknowledge the importance of international tournaments when it comes to this award, because clubs have loads from fans making noise online. Well, the thing is that, rightly or wrongly, for the last 20 years, you have to... History tells us that you have to either win the Champions League or an international tournament. There are a couple of outliers in there. For example, Messi having like a ridiculous individual season in, was it 2019? I think it was. But then you could even make an argument that Van Dijk could have won that. And there was like maybe one more example in there. But basically, you have to win one of those trophies to win. There's no other way around it. Outside of like Messi, the only other time, I think the most recent time that happened was Shevchenko in 2004. I believe. Let me double check that, actually, because I don't want to sound like a total idiot. Let me double check that. Ballon d'Or. Let's just have a look at the list of winners. I might be wrong there. Maybe it's the top 3, actually, that I'm thinking of, rather than the outright winner. Yeah, because to be fair, Ronaldinho won it in 2005, and I don't think... Was there a Copa America that year? I don't know. I don't know years of that. I don't think there was. Did Ronaldinho even ever win the Copa America? I don't know enough about it. TBH. It did in 99. Okay, so I'm thinking of the top 3. Yeah, you basically need to... There are a couple of outliers, but you need to win one of those to have a proper chance at doing it, because I'm looking at, Rodri, Euros. Messi, 2023, shouldn't have won it, but he won the World Cup. Benzema won the Champions League. Messi, we touched on that. That was the weird individual. Yeah, although I think he won the Copa America that year, in fairness. Yeah, so unless your name is like Messi or Ronaldo, and I think every year Ronaldo won. Yes, and Modric, he won the Champions League 2018. There was a period where Ronaldo won it loads, and they won the Champions League. Again, Messi with the Champions League. Loads of Ronaldo, Messi, Champions League, blah, blah, blah. It's very hard to win it if you don't have those two things going for you. So that's the first port of call. It does matter winning those awards. Even though it should be like an individual award, the criteria does involve having some sort of collective awards. I mean, it's also a criteria of the award is having class and fair play. And I think we identified yesterday that a certain someone doesn't have any of that shit. So he shouldn't have won it anyway. But there we go. We now spot a club with a Ballon d'Or winner. Look at us. Who would have thought, says Ian. Yes. We'll talk about the impact on City later, 100%. The keeps should ban Madrid for next year's Ballon d'Or as a punishment. We know what was also so funny, again, from these crybaby Real Madrid fans, was they were saying that, well, there's a conspiracy by UEFA because we're trying to start the Super League, so they don't want us to win. Right, okay. So, just to confirm, UEFA are favouring Manchester City, who they literally banned from their international tournaments. From their club tournaments. Is that the conclusion that we are reaching? Is that actually what we are saying right now? That an institution which took City to court to try to make sure that we remained banned from the Champions League and indeed any UEFA competition, who notoriously hate us, whose fans boo their anthem, they favoured City, did they? Right, yeah. If you're going to have a conspiracy theory, this is like when people say that, City are in bed with the PGMOL or vice versa. Right, you mean the organisation which is partly owned by the Premier League? The Premier League who are suing Man City and taking us to court? Right. Let's get a better conspiracy theory, maybe, before we try to scream conspiracy, shall we? Embarrassing how many players coming out basically alluding the Ballon d'Or being a robbery. Yeah, it's embarrassing, ultimate, isn't it? It's actually embarrassing. And it's not like Vinicius had this unbelievable season where he scored 50 goals and was brilliant. Didn't Salah score more goals than him, for example? And he didn't even get top 30. What are we doing here? They're acting like he had some sort of 2012 Messi level season. He didn't. It was all up in the air before the international tournaments happened. It was very, very tight. So that, again, these people are just crying so much and they need to get over it, to be honest. Steve. Now that's an interesting point. Have Mbappe or Bellingham come out? Because I guarantee they are both extremely happy that Vinicius hasn't won it. I guarantee that, because they're both looking at it like, well, I want to win it. Oh dear. Yeah, big up to you, Jimmy 5 Chins, one of my beautiful members. Yeah, that's the thing as well. It's not even like Vinicius was just sort of like a neutral for Brazil. He was just bad for Brazil as well. So funny. The best one I've heard from a Real fan was Rodri shouldn't have won because they don't like it. For God's sake. It's so bad, man. Yeah, we'll talk about the impact on City later, don't you worry. Madrid really causing a stir. Yeah, they can hold that, Staffy, honestly. They can absolutely hold that. City somehow loved and hated by the governing bodies at the same time. Make it make sense. Yeah, it's unreal, isn't it? It isn't real. Modric did indeed win the Champions League, and he also got to the final of the World Cup as well, didn't he? So Foden and Palmer both scored more goals, more goals and assists. Yeah. Again, if you have a look at that list, it's embarrassing how many people have more than him. And in isolation, it wouldn't be embarrassing, but it is embarrassing given that these people are arguing that it's a disgrace that Rodri won it. You can say that you think Vinicius should have won it, and that's absolutely fine. That's not a ridiculous take to have, but it is a ridiculous take to have to bitch and moan and say that Rodri was nowhere near worthy of winning it. That's just blind partisan, isn't it? If Vinicius won, I wouldn't have agreed with it, but I wouldn't have said that Vinicius was shit last year and didn't deserve to win it at all. Because that's a stupid thing to say. So there we go. Mbappe's happy that Vinny never won it. That's what I'm thinking, to be honest. Off the radar says Jude deserved it more than Vinicius. I probably would have said that as well, to be honest, because you know, I don't think Bellingham was particularly good at the Euros, but he certainly had a better Euros campaign than Vinicius. And I'd say they was pretty similar in terms of like their Real Madrid club form. So I would agree. I would actually have Bellingham ahead of Vinicius as well. And a penny for Bellingham's thoughts, by the way, because he just seems to have been like thrown to the wayside by, you know, Real Madrid fans and also even like the Real Madrid higher ups like Ancelotti not even bringing up Bellingham in his, you know, acceptance tweet because he obviously didn't turn up to accept the award. You know, not even name dropping Bellingham. It's a really weird thing because he had such a lovely debut season. And it's like, you know, that meme in Toy Story where it's like, I don't want to play with you anymore. It's like that. It's very unusual. Very odd. I do actually feel sorry for him. I really do. Yeah, well, that's just stupid, isn't it? Like, that's just really stupid. It's not like Vinicius was undisputed, he only had moments. And again, I would contend that Bellingham should have been... If you're going to have any Real Madrid player, I can't believe that these morons are choosing to peddle Carvajal as the person. If you're going to pick any Real Madrid player, surely it's Bellingham that you pick out of anyone. But they're trying the Vinicius stuff now that... And then after he was wank for Brazil, now it's like, oh, Carvajal. You picked the wrong battle, guys. You picked the wrong battle. He may not be performing this season, but it's all about last season, isn't it? Like this season's irrelevant. This is why it was so funny when, like, you know, Real Madrid when they won the UEFA Super Cup, and people were like, "Oh, see, he should win it." Like, lads, that Super Cup is irrelevant for Ballon d'Or voting. I tell you, the Super Cup that was relevant for Ballon d'Or voting, the one that Rodri got an assist in. Just an FYI, the one that was actually in the relevant season. You see? That's the issue. These people don't understand because they're silly. They're silly fools and they don't really know what's going on. So, yeah, they can hold. I would really recommend these people actually read the criteria and actually sort of have it in your head. Right, well, realistically, these were the people going in before the international tournaments happened. So it's got to be one of those people, surely. That's the only thing. So again, more on saying Carvajal. Were you saying that before the Euros happened? At all, was he even in the conversation? No, he wasn't. So you can hold that, to be honest, again. And Vinny Carry Madrid. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well done. Well done. He turned up for some knockout games. He was shit in the first half of the season, and he was shit for Brazil. This isn't player of the quarter-final onwards. This is for the best performing player of the season. Use your noggin, guys. Try to use your little baby brain. I know these people only have little baby brains, and it is little and baby. But just really try. Really try, guys. You can do it. I don't know how much faith I have in you based on some of these comments, but have another go. You can do it. Maybe. Use a brain cell or two. Anyway, shall we now talk about what it means for Manchester City as well? So, it means a lot, to be honest. Now, I don't think that, as a football fan, I don't really care about the Ballon d'Or in a vacuum and in isolation because I just have no reason to care, to be honest. I have no reason to care. But I did start caring when a City player was involved last season, and now I've got a vested interest in it. Now I am interested in the award, of course. So last season was the first proper season where I paid attention. Every other year I was like, okay, Messi won it, Ronaldo won it, he won, okay, you know, Jorginho's third. That's a little bit odd, but there we go. Again, being injured for 2 months, that sounds like a him problem, lad. The Ballon d'Or does not care about goals per 90. It cares about a season performance. This tells me the level of your intellect and the lack of critical thinking skills. The fact that you are bringing you up being injured as a feather in the cap of Vinicius. Do you also want to bring up the fact that he missed the game Brazil got knocked out from? It was his fault they were suspended. It's not really Rodri's issue or problem. So yeah, from a City perspective, this is really, really important, to be honest, because now there is clear evidence that you can win the Ballon d'Or as a City player, which has obviously never been the case in history. And it's obviously also been proven that it's really difficult to win the Ballon d'Or unless you play for one of Barca or Real Madrid, because that's just been the way it's been since 2008. And that was when Cristiano Ronaldo won it, putting in a ridiculous season, and winning the Champions League, winning the league, and I think he won the European Golden Shoe that year as well. Let me just double check. I'm pretty sure he did. Let me double check. European Golden Shoe winners. Did he win it that year? I think he may have done. Yes, he did. There you go, 2007-8. Yeah, so he scored... What is that? He scored 31 goals in the league. Yeah, in the league alone. Yeah, that's mental, man. How many did he score in all comps? He'll have scored a lot. He'll have scored a lot. Yeah, so that's natural, deserved winner. So that was the last time it happened. So a lot of things had to happen there. You know, he had to win the European Golden Shoe, and he had to win the Premier League, you know, scoring 31 goals, and he had to win the Champions League, and he had to score in the Champions League final as well, Cristiano Ronaldo, to do that. And then thereafter, it was Barcelona, Real Madrid dominance year with like Cristiano Ronaldo obviously going to Real Madrid, Barca, Real Madrid, etc., etc. Yeah, he did absolutely. Yes, and he basically won every single thing. So the fact that so that illustrates how difficult it is to win it unless you are one of those two clubs. So now the fact that City have won it, again, for the players where it does matter to them about winning those individual awards. Let's take an Erling Haaland, for example. Now, he will know full well, and I'm sure it's in his manifesto of his, you know, ambitions to win the Ballon d'Or. I'm sure that's what he wants. So he will now look at that, surely, and go, well, Rodri did it. Now, obviously, I was, you know, denied that a year prior, but now he'll look at that and go, maybe I can replicate that. And again, maybe likewise from a similar perspective, you know, players wanting to sign for City, who, again, are these elite, absolute elite of the elites, who have ambitions to win the Ballon d'Or, will they now be thinking, well, if Rodri can do it, why can't I do it? I don't just have to go to one of these two clubs to do it now. So I think that is also really good from a City perspective. Now, obviously, City are a globally recognized brand club. By this point, we all know that. Winning the treble, winning the Champions League solidified that. But I do think this is like another step up in terms of like, you know, club status and the way outsiders view Manchester City as an organization, because again, there's not many English clubs who can say that they have a Ballon d'Or winner. It's, as we established earlier, it's literally 4, and one of them's Blackpool. So, no disrespect to Blackpool or Stanley Matthews, but the only other 3 are, you know, Liverpool, Man United, of course, and Manchester City. So, you know, not even Arsenal or Chelsea can say that they've had, you know, a player playing for them win this individual accolade and award. So I do think it is massive, certainly from like just putting City on an even higher pedestal from a global brand and recognition perspective, which is obviously very lovely. You know, people saying in the chat earlier, what does this mean in terms of signing other players and whatnot? I genuinely think it could be a big difference to some of these people. Once again, if there's people who have an individual desire in that respect, I think like even recently Trent said that I think I saw a clip like Trent said it was like, would you rather win the World Cup, Champions League, or Ballon d'Or? And Trent picked the Ballon d'Or, which was very surprising. I thought he would have gone for like, you know, Champions League. So that clearly illustrates the ambition of these elite players nowadays. Of course, they want to win club trophies, but those individual accolades are still very high on their agenda. And you can better believe that Haaland's going to be a player like that. If we are looking to sign a player like a Musiala or a Wirtz or whoever, that sort of mold of player, it might be very important for them that they know that they can come to City and they can be assured that they have got a very good chance of winning it at some point. Oh, Nazar, thank you so much, matey, for the super chats. Gets printed out. Hello, ER from Twitter. Wait, is that Erling Roll? Is that Erling Roll, my boy? Let me know. Enjoying the stream. Thank you so much, mate. If that is Erling Roll, I mean, even if it isn't, shout out. But if it is Erling Roll, that's my boy. That's my absolute boy. And you're my boy, even if you aren't. But if you are, you're especially my boy. You get me. Xabi Alonso was robbed. He should win the best manager. Yeah. I think that's right, to be honest. He literally went unbeaten domestically and got to a European final. I think, that, you know, like making history along the way. I think that should have been the case. That's my boy. Nazar, shout out to you. Thank you so much for all your support that you always do on Twitter for me, matey. You know, you helped me get from like 80 followers to like 800 in like literally one night. So thank you so much, mate. I genuinely really appreciate you. You are my brethren. Yeah, I think it will make a difference, guys. It's big. And just from sort of like a like what has Pep done for this club perspective. Within, when did he come to the club? Well, I know he came in 2016, but let's say that he started to properly kick on in 2017. Within 7 years, this man has delivered. This man here, let me just like show you. Let me get the chat out of the way. This man here, yeah, my boy. He has delivered to this club history in respect of winning 4 Premier League titles in a row. History in respect of a domestic quadruple. History in respect of the treble and the subsequent quintuple. History in respect of making a Manchester City player win the Ballon d'Or. And even more so, and even more than that, he's literally revolutionized football. And the fact that he's now, this is sort of like maybe like the final thing that he could deliver to this club. And I wasn't even on my radar, to be honest, but he has helped deliver that. You know, Rodri doesn't win the Ballon d'Or, of course, without Guardiola. So we've obviously a massive shout out to Pep Guardiola, of course. But yeah, it's a madness. Yeah, I've no idea what is going on with people. Yeah, let's not spam, guys. I've no idea why people are trying to play. I mean, racism is obviously a massive issue, and very sadly, Vinicius has been an awful victim of racism throughout his footballing career. But to then belittle genuine acts of racism by suggesting that this is racism is disgusting and pathetic. And again, it really belittles those people who have actually been impacted by racism. So those people need to fucking sort themselves out, because it's actually pathetic and disgusting what those people are doing. To suggest that this is actually racism it's genuinely not on, to be honest. It's not on. So they need to actually rein their neck in. And I don't know what it's founded in. This idea that, I mean, it's obviously bollocks anyway, but non-white people have won the Ballon d'Or before. I don't really know what we're doing. So, yeah, it's disgusting. It is disgusting. But there we go. Thankfully, I don't think anyone in this chat's actually... We've had some crybabies in this chat, but I don't think anyone has actually tried to use the race card in this chat. And if they do, they can get banned immediately because I'm not having actual acts of racism belittled like that. Yeah? I mean, I've thankfully never been a victim of racism because I'm obviously, you know, a white man, whatever. But you know, my partner has, and lots of people I know have. So I don't know what they experienced, obviously, but we're not dealing with that shit. Yeah, we're not doing any of that shit, guys. Let's go to the chat now because I feel like I've said everything I wanted to say. I wanted to touch on the journey of Rodri's win. I wanted to touch on the Real Madrid crybaby reaction. I wanted to touch on what it means for Manchester City. And we also touched on this weird idea that football's finished. And it's like, brother, chill out. These people clearly didn't watch Rodri last season, who wasn't just a defensive midfielder. He was literally everything in the midfield. So we'll go to the chat now and we'll do that. If we could have less crying, that'd be fine. That'd be lovely. And if you continue to cry and bitch and moan without offering any actual reasoned debate or conversation, Jack, I'm giving you discretion to just time them out because I can't be bothered with that right now because you're just bringing bad vibes here without actually without actually bringing any entertaining discourse. So there we go. Make a video on why Rodri deserves the Ballon d'Or, says Nazar. Maybe. I feel like we've discussed it a lot in this stream, though, to be fair. Like, you know, it's... We all know how he was our most important player last season. He was, for me, our second best player last season. He was one of the best players at the Euros, and obviously has got the accolades. Oh, there you go. Someone got banned. Crazy. You can ban people on... That banimation happens on YouTube, apparently. Hold that. You got... Oh, that's so funny. A Real Madrid player got zabanned. That's crazy. That is mad. Actually got headbutted by her own legend. That is a madness, you know. That is an absolute madness. Yeah, exactly. I don't mind people disagreeing and having a constructive argument. You know, you could say, well, I think he should win because of X, Y, Z. But if people are going, then they just need to pipe down, to be honest. It's boring. It's really boring. Hello, Mars. As a Barca fan, I'm disappointed at the leak. It'd been that's what I was saying earlier. That's what I was saying earlier, Mars. And this is why it's annoying, because the journalists, you know, Fabrizio, people are having a go at Fabrizio saying that, oh, you're the one who ruined it. The only reason why Fabrizio tweeted that was because he was informed that Real Madrid were boycotting the whole thing. So it's not even the journalist's fault this time. I've got big issues with Fabrizio spoiling stuff, but it was Real Madrid's fault for spoiling it by being little babies about it. It would have been a really interesting ceremony and an actual genuine tension going on, and you know, a surprise shock result. As it was, they opted to be little babies about it, which is terrifying. It's not terrifying, it's just embarrassing. We went through an entire season of everyone saying Rodri is the most important player in world football, but everyone wants to moan about someone didn't deserve it over Jude or Carvajal. Yeah, and these are the same people who were downplaying Foden last season, saying Rodri is the best, Rodri was the best, Rodri the best. And now these same people a few months later are saying, nah, Foden was better though. Foden was better. It's so funny. And what season, you know, last season's now turned into for City. We had our player win player of the season, PFA player of the season, and one of our players win the Ballon d'Or. Unreal. Exactly, enthusiastic man, 100%. Yeah, well, this is also like, this is the dustiest take in the history of the world, to be honest. Like, the Ballon d'Or is open to all footballers. If there is a year where a goalkeeper happens to be the best player in the world, then they should win the Ballon d'Or. You can have your own thoughts about, oh, that's a shame that it means that offensive players weren't good enough, because obviously they're always going to get the limelight. But guess what? If he deserved to win it, he deserved to win it. it's not just open to offensive players. There are so many. Well, every single position is important in football. The idea that it's only attackers who are important, of course, they are the most important because goals are what win games. But we can even talk about goals and match-winning moments. Rodri's got plenty of them in any event. There's a reason why last season Rodri only lost one game and City lost more than one, but Rodri wasn't there for them. That tells you the importance of this man. So there we go. I expected it from entitled whiny babies like Madrid fans, but the amount of hate Rodri is receiving is baffling. Yeah, I know it doesn't have social media. These people need to show Rodri this vitriol and vile behaviour from these fans and the club representatives in general, and go, you can't play for them, guys. You cannot play for them. It's either been Real Madrid or Barcelona since 2008. Yeah, apologies, Ibrahim. I will I'll give you the behind the scenes. So what I guess I could have done some analysis video. So maybe that's it is my bad. But I'm basically doing a course to learn how to get football data. The idea being I can use that data in my touchscreen and analysis video. So I'm trying to learn how to get the data, and then I can make my own graphs and utilize them in the videos. So that's just taken a while. So that's why there's been a delay. Hopefully it'll be worth it in the end when I'm using my own visualizations and data in that respect. So do bear with me, guys. Hopefully it's just been so tricky to find the time. Hopefully this week I'll be able to do that, and hence the videos have been suffering. So that is my bad. Tennessee, thank you so much for the super chat. We'll be reading that very shortly. I think City told them Rodri won it, expecting this sort of reaction. Again, just have some class about it. I mean, you said it, Nick, not me. Dear. France football boss said Real Madrid pressured him to tell them who won. Oh my god, that's so... If true, that's embarrassing. That's actually pathetic. And the fact that the fans are trying to justify it, going, oh, well, he was deservingly shouldn't have gone. Like, guys, come on, have some decorum. Even if you don't think Rodri should have won it, have some decorum, lads. Come on. Yeah, Mad Connor. It was a genuine robbery. It was a genuine robbery that time out. And yeah, here we are. Next week, Ballon d'Or predictions, Haaland, Gvardiol, and then Haaland. That would be lovely, wouldn't it? You're embarrassed. Well, you got to take that medicine, haven't you? Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? The players are disgraceful. Tinsy, thank you so much for the super chat. When was the last time a DM got 25 GA, 80 games unbeaten, Euros, treble, etc.? Well, exactly. Well, exactly. Never is the point. Never is the point. I have no idea if he's an Athletic fan, but he did play for them for a season. Oh, I think this is going to count, to be honest, as that. This is us analysing it now. That'd be good. That'd be good. Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to level it up. I was using like a data... I was like sign up to like a data service last year, but they've now all of a sudden decided to go professional only, and they've upped their prices to like thousands of pounds. It's like, what are we doing here? So I've been priced out of it basically. So I've got to go and try to make my own data and make my own graphs. And as I say, hopefully hopefully make my job easier. I can tell stories better, and I can provide better content for you guys. I'm always trying to improve, lads. I'm always trying to improve. And lasses. Anyone who thinks only attacker should win needs to stick to 5-a-side, says Jamie. Yeah, 100%. Next year, Gvardiol's going to win the Ballon d'Or, hopefully. Rodri had 3 less goals as a DM than Vinny in the league last year, and 1 more goal for his country this season. I don't know how they can legislate Vinny winning it besides Champions League. Oh, wait, Haaland last year. Well, exactly, Ashley. It is nonsensical. It is nonsensical. It is stupid. I can't believe the amount of PR is staggering, isn't it? Super chat and ticket form. Absolutely, yeah. Hey, if you guys super chat a certain amount, as Tinty did, thank you so much. It's a very generous super chat, of course. It gets the Haaland printer activates. It also activates when people become a YouTube member. Once again, guys, do you see that? anywhere else on YouTube? No, you don't. Always trying to innovate, yeah? Always trying to innovate to make these shows as fun as possible and interactive as possible. Yeah, big up, Daniel. That's my moderator. That's my moderator. Yeah, Shrees can hold that. Nah, it's barely any paper gets used. It's still the same receipt roll. Yeah, the fact that he's done it without social media as well is genuinely really funny. I think that is also quite funny. The main reason Vinny lost is because their fans were pushing 3 players at a time, leading to division of the votes. I've seen so many Real Madrid fans, like, genuinely cussing out Bellingham and saying that he's a PR merchant and he's a twat. Their own player, who was arguably better than Vinicius last season. Bizarre. It is bizarre. Like, these are your players. Shouldn't you be supporting them? It's so weird. It is so weird. A City player winning Ballon d'Or does mean we have more yes, Sarfat, we discussed this earlier. I genuinely think it does. Because in terms of the elite players who want to win the Ballon d'Or, because maybe, again, and just going back to the Haaland example, maybe he thought, or maybe he thinks, thought that, certainly like when he was joining City, that, okay, he's going to come to City, but maybe he would have to go to Barcelona, Real Madrid, to get those individual accolades that he is deserving of. He's going to look at that now and go, well, he did it, and I obviously came second at the previous one, and I should have won it, but for the ridiculous World Cup storyline, which wasn't fair, obviously, but it happened. So, I think so. I genuinely do. It also just puts us on a higher pedestal from a global marketing and brand perspective as well, 100%. Yeah, this is interesting. Now, my only conclusion here is that, well, I mean, first of all, that they are not insane, because it's really weird that, you know, like Camavinga and Tchouaméni, etc. have all tweeted about this, crying about it. That is really weird. So they are sane, first of all, but also, you know full well that neither of those players wanted Mbappe, neither of those players wanted Vinicius to win. I don't think you can convince me of that. There's no way that Mbappe was looking at Vinicius going, oh, you know, good luck, mate. I really hope. In his heart of hearts, there's no way that he would have wanted that. He clearly wants to be the guy. He wants to be like, you know, the in this like new era of Real Madrid, because, you know, they've got like it's a very different side to, like, you know, the side from like a few years ago, like Ronaldo, Benzema, etc. I know Modric is still then. He's won the Ballon d'Or, but he's, you know, he's like in another era, isn't he? So I think they're probably looking at it as, you know, who's going to be the first to win it from the new era. It might not be Vinicius, because Mbappe's gone there, and the idea is he's going to be the crown jewel. He's going to be the star. I don't know, man. I don't know what's going to happen there. I wonder, because clearly there is an attitude and mentality problem from like an individual perspective, or focusing on individualism. Will that translate to on-field issues? We'll have to wait and see. It'll be very interesting. Holland printer is kind of creepy. Good, Ivana, good. I hope you creeped out about it. It shouldn't be normal. Who else has got a cutout of Erling Haaland hooked up to a receipt printer? Literally no one in the world has that. I would be willing to bet money, you know, like 5p, that there is no other streamer in the world who's got a printer with Haaland's face on it. Guarantee you that. Big up to you, NS. Don't you think some of the Real Madrid teammates must be angry? Surely they want to collect their medals as the best team. Maybe some do, but clearly some have bought into this weird victim mentality, loser mindset, so maybe not. Disgusting Madrid players are playing the race card. Yeah, we touched on that, Kings. It is vile behaviour. People say, Cav, how about Julian or Lautaro? Yeah, give it to my man Julian Alvarez, to be fair. Give it to my man Julian. Why not? Why not? Is there a way that I can have a look at the actual, just like the whole rankings? Because it is weird, the rankings. Like, outside of the top 3, it's basically irrelevant anyway. But, like, some of the placements are very odd. Like, I have no idea, just again, from a City perspective, I have no idea why Foden's so low at 11. I have no idea why, you know, Saliba isn't ahead of Ruben Diaz. I've no idea why Palmer's so low at 25. There are some weird ones there, but it sort of gets distorted because they only have a certain amount of people to vote for. So all the sort of like below 10th place anyway, it's like they're picking up scraps of points anyway. Realistically, there should be like 2 or 3 names that everyone puts down in like the higher echelons. You get me? So outside of that, yeah, Foden at 11 is ridiculous based on the season he had. Is stupid. But again, the ranking is only relevant in terms of the podium. Yeah, I can't believe Haaland's higher than Foden. That's just like name, I think. That's all it can be. I've realised over the last few hours, we as City fans have been spoiled by actually watching Rodri play because everyone else is making up stats and lying to themselves that Rodri is trash. Yeah, it's stupid. And it just goes to show these people don't actually watch us. That's the thing. That's just the thing. He didn't Ivana, but did Haaland play well in Germany? Yeah, Haaland too high. Yeah, I do agree. Yeah, Southak, that would be lovely. That would be lovely. Alas. 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 Oh, did Liao comment on it as well? Tut. How dare a humble player like Roger win it? A man who plays for his team and country without demanding the spotlight. Scandalous. Yeah, it's insane. Mbappe might have made some phone calls to Paris. Yeah. Can you imagine that? Mbappe will become the new Madrid poster child for the Ballon d'Or. That's why Vinny is so upset. There is a world where this is maybe this was his chance to win it, because based on like what should happen, and certainly from like what we all thought was going to happen, is that that Mbappe was going to be the poster child and the figurehead of Real Madrid. I don't know where that places, Bellingham and Vinicius from like an ambition perspective. Again, maybe Bellingham doesn't care. We all know Vinicius clearly cares. And his reaction again, embarrassing. It's all well. It's fine, and it's all well and good. I won't misquote him. What did he say exactly? He said, "Oh fuck's sake!" I tweeted it. I tweeted it with a hilarious daredevil dog. That definitely was my idea. He said, "I'll do it 10 times if I have to. They're not ready." Right. Why don't, in the first instance, it would be nice if you, first of all congratulated someone who did win it, and then you can go and say, I'm going to try and do better to win it. That would have been nice, wouldn't it? Alas, he's clearly got no class as an individual. I'm curious about that dressing room in the future. Will the egos, that's the question, Ivana, will they implode? Absolutely. I saw this. Yeah, that is terrible. That is absolutely terrible. Can Madrid graciously accept defeat ever? Nope. You can just end that sentence there. Nope, he didn't. It does matter a lot, but I would argue that, not qualifying for the tournament should surely put you in worse stead than actually playing in it and, performing at sort of like a 5 or 6 out of 10 or something. So that's my issue there. Euros and World Cup trumps anything you do in the year. Modric won it and Croatia didn't even win it. They finished second, says B. And that's also because of the Champions League as well. Obviously, Madrid won the Champions League that year. Rodri does 120. Yeah, again, these people just don't watch. They clearly don't watch, do they? They clearly don't watch. And I don't know why. Yeah, well, you can hold that, Jack. Mbappe and Vinny will be competing on the same team in similar positions. It's going to lead to Madrid's downfall. Well, so far it hasn't. The balance hasn't worked yet. Bellingham is being shunted out to like the wing, like to the wide areas at times. There's not enough balance there. Lovely. They came back 2-0 against Dortmund, but that's Dortmund, who have been stinky and weird this season. And they obviously got battered 4-0 by Barcelona. People, now again, they might go and win the Champions League because we all know that you don't have to be the best team to win the Champions League. But I might even back a Rodri-less City against Real Madrid this season. Seriously, based on what's happened so far, they've got to pattern up quickly. To be honest with you, honestly, disappointed Rodri didn't pull a Willy Wonka last night, do a somersault. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? That's why Vinny didn't win it, because he didn't acknowledge the winner and he thinks it's all about him. Which, I mean, genuinely, class and fair play is part of it. There will be a Spurs Way live stream, South. Yes, that'll be the next stream. Absolutely. That'll be tomorrow. We'll be kicking off at 8. And obviously there'll be a watch-along of the... There'll be a watch-along of the of the Bournemouth game as well. And then there'll be a post-mortem. I won't be able to do a stream on Sunday because it's my uncle's birthday, so I'll be going out there. And on Friday at 6, we'll be doing a Twitch exclusive stream. So make sure to join me for that. Oh, someone sent me something about playing the race card. So this is from Madrid Zone. This is from Reuters. Right, so this is as legitimate a source as you can get in Reuters. Do you... Just a minute. Do you guys remember? I think it was when United were being linked with being bought out by Ineos, and people were on the timeline going, "Does anyone know about these Reuters guys? Are they a legit source? They don't appear to be in the know." It's bloody Reuters, guys. What are we doing? Anyway, so this is legit as it can get. People close to Real Madrid and Vinicius believe he lost the Ballon d'Or due to his fight against systemic racism. Now, again, shout out to Vinicius for doing that. Wonderful stuff. And it's disgusting that he is the victim of abuse. But, like, what? So what is the inference there? That UEFA like racism? Which is a massive victim mentality. Crazy. Crazy. That is madness. That is actually a madness. City players should have carried Rodri up the steps. Yeah, actually, yeah, genuinely. Genuinely. Terrible. Can we list all the Ballon d'Or winners who shouldn't have won, starting with Messi last year? Yeah, we can do that. Sounds fun. Let's do that. So or where there was like a contentious situation, maybe. Ones where it wasn't absolutely they should have won it. Let's have a look. Where are we? So. Right, so. Rodri won it this year, and in my opinion, he deserved to win it. 2023, Messi didn't deserve to win it. That should have been Haaland. 2022, Benzema, fine. I understand why Messi won it in 2021. I personally would have given it to Lewandowski. I can see why he won it. I can also see the argument as to why Van Dijk should have won it in 2019. Modric winning it in 2018 was weird. That was odd. Jack just CR7 times 5. Ronaldo, again, I don't think you can begrudge the era when Real Madrid won the Champions League every single time. I think that's fine. This era is sort of fine. 2013, there's always been the argument for Ribéry. He should have won it. But ultimately, Ronaldo did win it. 2012, Messi, that was the only one. Messi in 2011, yeah, won the treble, of course. Sorry, won the Champions League. Yeah, Messi again, that's fine. Although, to be fair, 2010, you could have made a very strong case for Iniesta, in fairness, because obviously they won the World Cup as well. So you could make a strong case there. Yeah, Messi, that's fine. Ronaldo, that's fine. Kaká, 2007. Cannavaro winning in 2006 was a weird one. That probably should have been... Actually, I don't actually know who should have won that one. I was going to say Henry. But they didn't win the league, did they? And they didn't win the Champions League, so it's really tricky. I don't know. I just think Cannavaro was a weird one, personally. I don't think he should have won the Ballon d'Or that year. I don't know who should have won it, but probably not Cannavaro. 2005, Ronaldinho won it. Yeah, that's chill. Shevchenko winning it in 2004 was, again, a bit of an oddity. A bit of an oddity. That could have been the year that Henry won it, because 2004 was when the Invincibles wasn't it? So and Henry didn't even get top 3 that year. 2003, that was when Nedved won it, and in fairness, he did get them to the Champions League final. A lot of people, but that was the year Henry, got like 20 plus goals and assists in the league or something insane. So again, maybe Henry should have won that one. 2002 was a weird year because there was no outstanding candidate, and R9 was given it just because he won the World Cup. The issue there was that there wasn't really an out-and-out winner outside of him there. 2001, I don't think Michael Owen should have won it. That should have been Raul, personally. 2000, Figo, that's fine. 99, should have been David Beckham, let's be real. 98, Zidane won it because he scored 2 goals in the World Cup final, so yeah, that's chill. And there we go, guys. That's stuff like through to the late 90s. So there's a fair few there where you can look at it and go, did they deserve to win it? Did they really? So it's you know, it's a thing. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. It matters to me now because a City player is involved, and you better believe that I'm interested in that for the aforementioned reasoning of think about what it does from a City perspective. Think about what it does from an attraction perspective, from a global brand and recognition perspective. We can now say we have a Ballon d'Or winner in Rodri. A massive club, this isn't a dig, but a massive club like Arsenal can't say that. Rightly or wrongly, they can't say that. Chelsea can't say that. Not every single big club can say that, but City are now one of those clubs. You know, like, you know, United, Liverpool, Bayern, Dortmund, Madrid, Barca, Ajax, AC Milan. I'm assuming Inter Milan somewhere. No doubt. Somewhere I just can't think of off the top of my head who would have won it, because Ronaldo didn't win it when he was an Inter player. What did he? I don't think he played for Inter that year. Wasn't it the season? The season he moved to Inter. There'll be someone there. There definitely will be someone there. We are now in that group. Yeah. So this just wonders from that perspective. And again, I think it does matter. I think it does matter in that respect. There we go. Hayes Records, proud for Rodri, elated Vinny lost. I'm elated he lost given the response that's happened here. Given the absolute crybaby response that's happened here. You know, you could sweep that under the carpet and go, well, it was Perez's decision to not turn up. But the fact that he tweeted out like that, and the fact that they're trying to play a race card. And Mateus, thank you guys. And the fact that they think there's this weird conspiracy about them tells us that it's not just a club thing, it's also a player thing. So he deserves everything he got there. Deserves everything he got. He deserves eternal suffering in that very specific respect, and he can hold that. Massive for City, absolutely massive. Endless bragging rights plus more pull in transfers. Yeah, absolutely 100%. PSV, yes, exactly, Kings. Yeah, for that ridiculous season. Yes. I think that he came second the year he was a Barcelona. Or was it second when he was a PSV player, and then, or second as a Barcelona player? It was one of them. But yeah, absolutely. Create a separate award for every position: forward, midfielder, defender, keeper. I do agree with that, because there is I mean, UEFA do that, don't they? UEFA have a, you know, forward of the tournament and all that stuff. And they've nearly done that. Like, there is a Yashin trophy for the best keeper. So why, yeah, maybe they should have, like, you know, like is there a Beckenbauer trophy? If there isn't, I feel like, you know, maybe they could make a Beckenbauer trophy for the best defender. You know, something like that. Or, like, you know, the Bobby Charlton trophy. Not Bobby Charlton, Bobby Moore trophy. Or, like, you know, like the Maldini trophy. That might be fun, actually. You know, and then who do you have for midfield? You could have, like, you know, a Xavi trophy or sort of something like that. Yeah, just to make it more exact. That might be fun. Just so everyone gets an award as well. Because UEFA do it, so why not? Madrid tears are sweet, yeah. Yeah, I do agree, of course. Like, it's very admirable what he's done for in that respect. But to then have a cry about it after is, like, you know, the respect is down and all that stuff. If Rodri didn't win, you wouldn't see us crying. Yeah, I'd be disappointed, and I wouldn't agree with it. But I wouldn't be doing a live stream talking about how it's like a massive disgrace. I'd be moving on with my life, to be honest. I'd be moving on with my life. I wouldn't be crying about it. You get me? It's so. I don't know, but Sammer, the Dortmund player in '96, I know that sometimes he played as a sweeper, but sometimes played as a DM. '96 may have been the last time, and then the issue is that, you know, football terminology and football positioning and roles have changed so much. So you could even argue that, you know, last season, did Rodri even play? I mean, he did play as a DM, but as we know what a defensive midfielder is nowadays, he didn't really play like one. Like, he was playing as an 8 a lot of the time, so it's a tricky one. It is a tricky one. He was. Didn't he score like a goal a game or something mad? Please make sure to listen to the Knob bot, by the way, guys. Leave a like on the video. He won it with Hamburg, didn't he, Douglas? Yes. This Roger win just explained Messi's 2023 win. Nah. Because Messi was like, what, the third best player for PSG. So, no. And like, Rodri was still the second best player in his own league. So, it's hasn't justified anything. The Hullet Trophy, yeah. Let's call it the Rodri. If the Yashin Trophy is named after a goalkeeper who won the Ballon d'Or, let's name it the Rodri Trophy. Yeah? After a midfielder who won it. Why not? Scenes when City beat Spurs with a kindergarten team. Just briefly on that, again, guys, we are going to be doing a watch-along tomorrow evening, around 15 minutes before kickoff. But it's almost definitely going to be a defeat. And we are going to be playing children, etc. Yeah, big up. Let's get to it. Yeah, good point, Jack. 200 likes. Get it up, yeah. There are over 200 people here watching, so we can do that, lads. Well done, Jack. Big up to you. Yeah, I expect us to lose tomorrow. Need Haaland to win next year. As year after that is a World Cup, says Matty. Yeah, or Norway needs to like qualify and try to do something. You're absolutely right. Ballon Rodri, amazing. Yeah, he was everything, wasn't he? Fenway, he was literally everything. He was trying to do the job of Gundogan as well, and succeeding actually. By the way, like if you look at those spiral graphs, he was doing literally everything. Literally everything. So that is the boy. I thought it was poor taste for them to introduce the Yashin Trophy yesterday by showing clips of a striker scoring against multiple keepers. I listened to the ending of the ceremony. I didn't really watch it because, I mean, it started like 7:30, didn't end until like 10 o'clock or something insane. It's like, how long can you drag this on, lads? How long can you drag this on? Do we have a Ballon d'Or presentation at the Etihad when Rodri returns? We must do, surely. We have to. It has to be a thing. I think, you know, when Alvarez won the Copa America, I'm pretty sure that he like came out with his medal. So yeah, that's got to be a thing. Surely it's got to be. What happens if we win? Will Pep be pissed? Oh, I see. Like, because he wants to get knocked out. I'm sure that he's still because he'll view it as an opportunity to play the children again. Probably. I mean, if we play, if we play at home to a rubbish team, for example, I mean, it doesn't really matter who we play if we do beat them. He'll just look at it as an opportunity to rest his main players and to, again, give players who don't normally get to play, like McAtee, Nico O'Reilly, a chance to start, and maybe Nunes in midfield also, or, getting players back to sharpness and full fitness. So I think that he'll be quite happy, to be honest. I hope so as well, but he would have to win as we've established, almost definitely would have to win the Champions League for that to happen. As long as they give it a good go of academy players, I don't mind the result. Yeah, and I don't think it'll be like a wholesale change. My predicted, because there's still players who need, there's still some players who need like the minutes. Like I think that Stones will play, for example. If Walker was available, he would start. I think Ake will play because, again, he's only just come back from injury, so it makes sense to give him some minutes. I think, Nunes will start again. Depending on, I don't know what Grealish's availability is like, but if he's available, he'll start. I think Haaland will I don't think he'll even travel. I'd be very surprised if he travels, Haaland. I think he'll just be given the night off, hopefully. And I hope we play false 9, whether that's with Foden at false 9, or Bernardo, or Gundogan, whoever. But definitely McAtee and definitely Nico O'Reilly will be starting. Maybe like, like the guy who played against Watford. I've forgotten his name. Maybe he'll play as well. It's a very good point, Akshay. Maybe. Hello, Musty. Best chance for Holland to win Ballon d'Or is between international tournaments, as international win seems to have a high merit, and Norway aren't great. Yes, indeed. So many really dragged. I know they're obviously told to do it. But there we go. Baby 11 tomorrow then. Yes, certainly under strength, that's for sure. I find it crazy seeing people say Vinny carried Madrid. Yeah, they're just madness, aren't they? Start Carson against Spurs. Now, Ortega still needs your time. Still needs the time. A player's won a Ballon d'Or playing for us. It's mental, yeah. And that means, I think that means now City have technically had 3 Ballon d'Or winners play for us. There's not many other English clubs who can say that, you know, because we've had Dennis Law and George Weah and Rodri now. So, which is, you know, it's interesting. It's very interesting. Yeah, so Haaland will be resting 100%. Bring back Gundo, false 9. That could definitely be a thing. Definitely. Although I still would like to see him deeper, and then Foden played at false 9. I think Foden is our best option at false 9, isn't he? Based on like the season where we won playing a false 9, he was the best option there. Brathwaite, that's the one. Oh, yes, that's a great point. So, yes, I really hope Wright starts. Didn't he get an injury? Is he now over that, do we know? If so, I totally agree. The midfield 3 should be Wright, Nico O'Reilly, McAtee, Foden at false 9. That would be a lovely time. How by all? Or, you know, or I was going to say, no, Ricolos is going to have to play right back. We don't really have anyone else, do we? Which is a shame. Player that we got from West Ham, the striker. I don't know if there's any point in doing that, though. I think it makes more sense to trial a system which we might actually use. And for me, that would be a false 9 situation. Nunes takes the penalties, true. Haaland needs to break his own goal record and win another treble to be in with a shot, says Douglas. He'll have to have, for Haaland to win it, again, you've got to win the Champions League at least, I think, at least. That's got to be a thing. And preferably you'd win your league as well. And preferably there's not an equally outstanding candidate who's in an international competition and plays well in that tournament. Because you definitely can win it in an international tournament year with you not even taking part. Like if all the other candidates, you know, get knocked out relatively early doors, for example. Right, played for the EDS on the weekend. Okay, so he's back. Yeah, so he'll hopefully be starting. That's great. Yeah, so I'd love to see a midfield 3 of Wright, Nico, McAtee. That's because Wright's a 6, isn't he? And O'Reilly's more of an 8. So that's a 6-8, and McAtee's more of a 10. Perfect. And then, yeah, and then Foden false 9. And then, well, Bernardo was at the ceremony, wasn't he? So he's probably not starting. So maybe it'll be Savio starting, in fairness. Off the left, Nunes. And then Ortega. And again, I'd go Ake, Brathwaite, Stones, Lewis. That's still actually a strong team, in fairness, but we should lose it because Spurs should be going full strength. So I expect us to lose by a couple of goals, but it would be nice to see the lads given a go. It would be nice to see. Yes, we're going to depend on the Club World Cup, you think? Start Scott Sinclair. Weah, Ronaldo, 9, and Rivaldo won the Ballon d'Or. What is Vin Jr. talking about? I have no idea. What's my top 5 Ballon d'Or ranking? I would have... I don't even know. I've definitely got Rodri at the top. I'd probably have Bellingham second because we've got to base it off being practical. You've got to have won either the Champions League or an international tournament. So I'd do that. So you've got to account for that. So I'd probably go Rodri, Bellingham, and then probably Vinicius. And then I don't even know after that. I don't even know who you'd have, to be honest. I only really know my top 3. I have no idea what my top 5 would be. Savio was at the ceremony. Oh, yes, of course. Wonder if he'll play. Savio, can't risk him. Foden, right wing. Maybe, but if he can play, I would like to see him play. If he can. It doesn't make sense to the ill-informed and the uneducated. This is why education is so important. It's why critical thinking skills are so important. If Spurs don't go full strength, they must do. They will know that this is a massive opportunity for them to progress in a cup competition. Isn't it something like is it the quarterfinals after this or the round of 16 after this or something? Is that what it is? What is it? League Cup. What round is it? Oh no, this is the round of 16. God, you get to the knockouts. I mean, it's all knockouts. You get to like the quarterfinals so quickly. You'll have to win one game if you're one of these bigger clubs. Yeah, this is a great chance for them to get to the quarterfinals of a trophy. Now it's only the League Cup, but it's Spurs. This should mean a lot to them. Who else is still in it? Is basically everyone who's important still in it. I don't think there's been anyone big knocked out, in fairness, has there? No, so United, Leicester, Villa, Palace, Newcastle, Chelsea, Arsenal, Preston, Brighton, Liverpool. God, the League Cup is so boring and stinky, isn't it? It's basically all Premier League clubs. It's so boring. How many non-Premier League clubs are there? Preston, Stoke, Sheffield Wednesday. Only 3. Ugh, boring. Yeah. So it's a good chance to get to the quarterfinal. You know, only one of Newcastle and Chelsea will be in there. Only one of Villa Palace will be there. Only one of Brighton Liverpool will be there. It's a good chance for them to maybe win something. Due to win the same as Vinny at club level, was La Liga player of the season, had more G than Vinny and had better international tournament. Yeah, it's weird. They backed the wrong candidate, clearly. They backed the wrong candidate. People are acting as if they just have the Ballon d'Or for Calvin Phillips. Yeah, I know, it's crazy. If Modric can win 2018, so can Rodri. Don't know why people... So yeah, they're just idiots though, aren't they? Oh yeah, that Richarlison statement was so bizarre as well. Actually like a crybaby. Actually like a crybaby. Speaking of crybabies, here's one of them. Well done. L's in the chat for Praz. L's in the chat for Praz. One of those crybabies that we're talking about. More money in league than the Carabao Cup. Levy's all about the money. True. True. At some point, I mean, to be fair, I was going to say at some point, sure, they have to win something, but I guess they don't, do they? Because if he doesn't care, he doesn't care. You know that Spurs make more money on a match day than Real Madrid. And they make more money than City on a match day and Spurs on a match day. It's ridiculous. It is a madness. So their fans are getting massively exploited. Oh, that's crazy. Look at all these L's for that foolish fool. Look at this. That's outrageous behaviour. Massive L. That's bigger than the L in LNobbins. That's crazy. That is crazy. Bellingham must feel gutted. Had a better season than Vinny and less appreciated. Yeah, it's madness to me. Madness to me. What do we need to do to win the Champions League this season? Seems impossible without Rodri. We've got to get very fortunate and very lucky, to be honest. That's what's got to happen, because in the Champions League, it's mainly about, you know, being solid defensively in the first instance, and we're obviously not that this season, nor will we be without Rodri. So in terms of how we can win it, the only way we can win it is if we enter the market. That is the only way. That's the only way we can do it. So interesting. So again, normally this would have been the Knobcast, and it would have had Gasky's thoughts, because it looks like Amarim's going to be going to United. But I know that we chatted about it, but according to Jack Gorn, who's like one of the main City journalists, City were never actually linked with Amarim, which is interesting. Quoting the fact that Amarim obviously plays a very different style to what City are currently playing. You know, he plays an exclusive back three, it seems, usually a 3-4-3, and City... Sure, we play a back three in possession, but it's very different going from a 4 to a 3, and then a 3 in possession and out of possession. So I guess that's why we weren't properly linked with him, or weren't properly interested in him, according to Jack Gorm. They do absolutely, yeah, it's crazy. God, this guy loves the Elves fairs, man. I mean, yeah, I could tell by your take, so that is reasonable. Thank you, Daniel. They are filthy rich and get Timo Werner to play for them. Yeah, if we sign someone of that ilk in Jan, then there is a chance we can do it. But if you're saying right now, the squad as it stands, I don't think they can do it in those latter stages, to be honest with you, in those moments. My dream option would be Inzaghi. But people are saying Nagelsmann. That's interesting. jury's still out on Vinny. He's got to prove himself in the Champions League in the latter stages. So far, he's not passing that test. But a watchful eye is being had there. Xabi Alonso's interesting, but he's probably going to Real Madrid, isn't he? That seems destined. But my dream option would be Inzaghi. That's probably not going to happen, but that's my dream pick for sure. Great profile picture, by the way, Jack. Excellent work. Excellent work. Tottenham fans are rich, and they're also they literally they're getting exploited as well. It's madness that they rake in that much money. I mean, Henry was saying it yesterday on the top six that the cheapest season ticket at Spurs is £1,200, and they can go up to over £3,000. Now, their cheapest season ticket is literally 4 times the amount of my season ticket with City. I understand. I know that London's a more affluent city than Manchester, of course, but it's not 4 times more affluent, and it's worse football, and you don't win anything. That is insane. That is insanity to me. I know it's a lovely, pretty new stadium, but that is a madness to be demanding over £1,000 to know they're not going to win anything. Insanity to me. I don't know if that includes cup scheme tickets, to be fair, or if that's just Premier League games, but that's insanity to me. That is insanity. Oh, wait, you don't trust Italians in the Premier? Hello? Musty, are you okay? Is that a joke? Is that a joke? I hope so. Look at this. Pep to sign a 1-year extension. We're bringing Inzaghi. Question mark. Him or Nagelsmann would be really fun. That would be really nice. The imaginary beard chin is being stroked. I think Inzaghi's, in terms of a tactician, I think Inzaghi's the best one that we could maybe realistically go for. Because I know his style of play isn't like directly Pep's, but it's incredibly fluid and it can be whatever he wants it to be. I think that's the main selling point with Inzaghi. He's very fluid. Like the way he plays at the Etihad is nothing like how he plays in Serie A, for example. I'd be very interested to see. Big and Nobbins in chat, being lost to a guy with 1 leg. Yeah, big up, Herbal. 100%, right, I would love that fact checked, but 100, surely this is the first time the Ballon d'Or's been won by a player who's on crutches. That's surely the first time. I actually don't know, Matty, because I've not really been impressed with Real Madrid, but they do still tend to win it, don't they? I think it might be a little bit too early for Barcelona. It might be a bit too early for them, so I genuinely have no idea. I'd say a little bit more. I need to wait for the knockouts, I think. See, Lacey, this is where I disagree. He's defensive when he needs to be, but he's offensive when he doesn't. He's actually very fluid and easygoing. He's obviously very defensive against City because he knows how good we are, so he adapts. That's what I do like about Inzaghi. He's far more likely to adapt and change based on the circumstance, which I am a fan of. We can't be mad, of course. He's absolutely. He's even given us a Ballon d'Or winner. Yeah, Inzaghi, Nagelsmann, either or for me would be wonderful. I'm so proud of my football club. They've grown so much we can rattle the mighty Madrid. Yeah, who'd have thought that, like, even like this time 10 years ago, when like, we'd won a couple of Premier League titles, that we'd be getting to the stage now where Real Madrid fans are actually cussing out our players and our club. Like that's the level. That's how you know you're doing something good. And also the fact that they want a lot of our players. That's how you know you're doing something good. Just get Zidane. Says, I don't want Zidane. I think that he's a limited tactician personally. And I don't think that he's right. Who would be right for City? Flick Highline was man of the match versus Madrid. Brest win the Champions League. Big up. Yeah, big up to you, Elder, of course. Listen to the Nobbot, by the way, guys. We're nearly at over 200 likes, which was the target for this stream. So please make sure to listen to the Nobbot. Leave a like on the video. It is free. It does help the channel. Thank you in terms of people who opted to support, to go the extra mile. Thank you so much to Nazar, aka Erling Roll, who joined us on stream. Thank you so much, Erling Roll. And also Tinsay for your wonderful super chats. I would also love Nagelsmann, Lizzie. There's no doubt about that. Barca have a good shot. They do have a good shot of going far. I just wonder, is it too much too soon for them? That would be my thing. I think maybe next year or the year after, they would be like, maybe even favourites. I think this year it might be. Depends on how their run goes. It might be a little bit too soon for Barcelona. Players with more League J than Vinicius last season. Mateta, Bowen, Gordon, Havertz, and Lacazette. Lacazette? The hell. Crazy. He's also been linked, hasn't he? He certainly plays a similar style. I agree. I wouldn't want Zidane. I wouldn't want him. I don't think he'll be a good fit. I do think that tactically he is limited. That's my take. Rodri said Carvajal was the first player that called him after the ceremony. Perez is a nasty person. It's just, yeah, he's a weirdo, and lots of their players are weird, as it turns out. They are just like little babies. Absolute babies. Speaking of babies, can we have L's in the chat for the foot, please? Thank you very much. That's a massive L. That's bigger than the L in LNobbins. Carry for lots of those, please. Thank you. That's an L comment. Come on, guys. You can do better. Switch that brain on, lads. It's sad the greatest player hasn't won the Ballon d'Or, but he was up against two greats. Yeah, maybe that's like where we can end, or rather, that can be our final conversation, because that was something I wanted to discuss as well. You know, lots of people have been saying, you know, this now means that Rodri is our greatest player and that sort of thing. I don't know if I agree, personally. I still think that Kevin De Bruyne... I still think that Kevin De Bruyne is our greatest player, regardless of whether he won the Ballon d'Or or not. I actually think that if De Bruyne was fit for the entirety of last season, then he could have had a very strong shout as well. I mean, based on the second half of his season, if he had that in the first half, the numbers would have been mental. I still think that Kevin is the one for me. He's still the greatest player in my view, and that's not changed based on Rodri winning. I thought De Bruyne should have been higher in the year that Benzema won. He came third. I think it should have been at least second, to be honest, that year. For me, it's still Kevin. And I do think that, like, again, it's not fair to place past players into current seasons. But let's say that if Kevin De Bruyne had like the 19-20 season that he had this season, or that season just gone by, for example, that would have been a player better than Rodri's performances of last season. So for me, it's still Kevin for me. But of course, Rodri's up there, and I would love to see Rodri have a statue, maybe with Guardiola, as two Spanish defensive midfielders. That would be a really nice statue to have. Maybe like Guardiola holding up the Champions League, Rodri holding a Ballon d'Or, De Bruyne holding the Premier League, and someone else holding the FA Cup to represent, the fact that we won the treble and the Ballon d'Or within the space of a couple of years. So maybe Haaland holding up like the something like that. That might be nice. That might be nice. There are a lot of trophies need to be made here. Sorry, a lot of trophies. A lot of statues need to be made here, but they deserve them, to be honest. They deserve them. Because they are that good. They are that good. I'm sorry, the full. Look at that. Yeah, this is crazy. This is a madness, We even got an Omega L there. Good lord. Do better next time. Honestly, do better. Yeah, absolutely, Fenway. Jack. Rodri was much better last season than the treble season. Kovacic helped unlock him. He certainly had more to do. That's absolutely true. Jokes and Yoshko is the best of all time. Aguero's definitely up there as well, Stephen. I agree. Well, before Kevin, I had David Silva. Yeah, David Silva for me. But I think that De Bruyne has overtaken him now for me. And Aguero's got his statue, and David's got his statue, and they deserve their statues, obviously. I think a Rodri Ballon d'Or coupled with like a Pep treble one would be really nice. Yeah, so maybe like Pep behind, or like Pep alongside Rodri holding the Ballon d'Or, and then three other City players holding the Champions League and the Premier League and the FA Cup. So yeah, like maybe, yeah, so who would that be? Kevin and Haaland and probably Gundogan because he was the captain, wasn't he? So maybe something like that. That might be nice. That might be nice. Sergio Gomez a statue. Chill. Chill. If only. One day, these people who lie about De Bruyne's international performances, one day we will have an actual conversation about how Kevin De Bruyne is actually usually wonderful for Belgium, but he's every single time let down by his forwards. Every single damn time. Now that Rodri has a Ballon d'Or, your top 10 City players of all time. So Rodri's definitely now, and he was going to be the end of his career now. Rodri's in that top tier. Now, there's no doubt about it. He's got to be in the same tier as Aguero and David Silva and Aguero. And I Fernandinho in that tier. Gundogan. Rodri's got to be there as Colin Bell. Rodri is definitely in that tier. He was going to be in that tier regardless of Ballon d'Or, but this is just like solidified it, surely. Surely that's a thing. Surely there's no doubting there. I'm in love with Yoshko. Yeah, that's my boy. Breaking. Perez called in Real Madrid players and told them to promote Vinny on their socials, and Mbappe and Ballon have a claim the socials aren't working. That's surely fake. That's surely fake. Silver the Magician. Yes, definitely. Gundogan holding the FA Cup. Gundogan statue holding the Champions League. Yeah, Gundo's got to have one. For being the captain whilst winning the treble, it's got to be a thing. Calvin statue. Hopefully Rodri's statue isn't as bad as the Way statue. I've not seen that. People assume players can't choose nationality. Yeah, exactly. This is stupid. Wait, what's this? Is this an actual breaking news thing, Musty, or are you trolling me? What's happened? Is someone available? For God's sake, I was. I thought you were actually going to tell me something then. Why is him being handsome being brought up at a press conference? I mean, he is a handsome man. Like, look at him. But why? Why are they asking him that question? Why are they asking him that? Yeah, Fern is in my top tier. He's definitely. Although I do think it's fair, even though I obviously adore Fernandinho, I've been reluctant to say that Rodri's ahead of him in terms of, like, you know, the best defensive midfielder in Premier League history. But I think it just is the case now, isn't it? I think it just is the case that he is that guy, in all honesty. Having Bellingham and Mbappe not responding to Ballon d'Or and not going the race from agenda shows they still have a remnants of a spine. I've seen him on the catwalk. He got in trouble with his manager doing that. Arteta question. Gundo should get a permanent Mr. Whippy ice cream fan outside the Etihad. Yeah, there should be a stall, shouldn't there? Like an ice cream stall. That's a great idea. We're going to wrap it up in like 5 to 10 minutes, guys. So get your final comments, thoughts in. This has been a bonus fun stream. Again, normally it would have been the Knobcast, but Gasky, my United friend, was unavailable. And the Rodri news meant that we had to discuss this. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, lack of respect. Yeah, they can hold that. I want Phone to change his celebration because otherwise they'll make a statue of him with the shooting celebration. Hey, well, they could always have it, you know, the one where he's got his arms open after he scored, like, you know, the title-winning goal against West Ham. That could be a thing as well. Egghead Managers Club lost a valuable member yesterday, 100%. Nunes or Doku as the left winger. Well, I mean, against Spurs tomorrow, it's got to be Nunes because Doku's still out injured. I still think the Doku is an impact player right now. That doesn't mean he can't start some games, but if it's like a massive game, I still think the Doku should be someone to bring off the bench, personally. Next City player to win the Ballon d'Or. Based on our current crop, the most obvious answer is Haaland, isn't it? He already should have a Ballon d'Or to his name. It's easy to vote for him because he's always going to score a mental amount of goals. It's very likely that he gets, you know, that he wins European Golden Shoes consistently and therefore Gerd Muller trophies consistently. I think it's got. I think he's the obvious answer, isn't it? Isn't he? Sorry, because he ticks all the boxes. He's a forward. He scores goals. He scores important goals. He wins trophies, obviously. So I would say probably him. Yeah, I think that would make the most sense. Now, obviously, City would have to win the Champions League for that to happen, and Haaland would have to have, you know, like a goal a game sort of thing. But that could definitely happen, and yes, and this is a good follow up by you. Yes. So it would either have to happen in a year where there isn't an international tournament, or there is a tournament, but someone who wins it isn't remotely involved in the debate in terms of who should win the Ballon d'Or. So, you know, if Haaland wins the Premier League and the Champions League, scoring like, you know, 60 goals in all comps in 60 games, something mad, and there's no one who comes close to him, and then at the international tournaments, nothing else really happens either in that respect, then he would definitely win it, wouldn't he? So that could happen, because it does tend to be Champions League or international tournament. It's not always international tournament. Eric Ten Hag, if only, Andrew. If only. Where do I stay in Manchester? I'm not going to give you my address, my man. I'm sorry. I'm not going to give you my address. Eagerly waiting someone to put a mic in front of Bernardo and asking him about the Madrid question. We do need a shithouse City player to do a tweet or a comment about Real Madrid's baby behaviour. We do really need to see that. And Bernardo is surely the man to do it. He's got to be the man to do it. It's got to be a thing. It's got to be a thing. Yamal will definitely win it. Either when Spain win another trophy or when Barca win the Champions League, for sure. He seems destined to win it. Haaland could win next year. We just need to win Club World Cup and Champions League, says Stephen. Yeah, hey, he could win it. He could win it this season, 24-25. If we win the Champions League, he definitely could win it. Definitely. If City win the Champions League, it probably will be one of our players, won't it? And if, like, you know, Haaland scores like the winning goal in the final, or if he scores a ridiculous amount of goals along the way, then that's the thing. I did see Aguero's comment. Yeah, I meant a current City player, but yes, I did also see him saying that. And of course he's going to say, because he's like a former Atletico Madrid player and a Barcelona player. So Aguero gets it. Aguero gets it. Musiala or Wirtz. Oh, you're looking at a future player, Fairs. Nah, I don't really watch fighting, to be honest, matey. This is the season. Go sign DM, win Champions League and the Club World Cup. I'm sorry, we ain't ever winning a trophy, I'm afraid. We ain't ever... If only he played for a good nation, as it turns out. Yeah, we need that Bernardo Shithousery. Don't disappoint us. Has to be Bernardo. Yeah, his Zinchenko comment was so funny. It was so funny. Gavai is such a cliche collar of regen austerity. It's just ridiculous, isn't he? Yeah, that's mad. Aguero's so funny. To see Yamal come to City. Nah, I don't think Yamal ever leaves. Yamal will never leave Barcelona. He's been there since he was like, you know, came out with his mum or something. He's never leaving. He could, Spencer's and Mark. He could, if City win the Champions League, then he could win it. Because then it would probably be a City player who wins it if we win the Champions League. And if we win the league as well, then that would just compound it. It'll have to be a City player, surely. Unless like someone goes off and scores 100 goals or something mad. Which could happen, in fairness. You know, like the year Messi won it in 2012, he didn't win La Liga, he didn't win the Champions League, but he broke the goal scoring records in a calendar year or something mental, didn't he? So that was the year he popped off. So it could absolutely happen, but realistically, you've got to win the Champions League. And I actually don't know, because Real Madrid don't look impressive, but you never know. They're always dangerous. Bayern, first season under Vinny, are they true contenders? Maybe not. Leverkusen, not sure. The English clubs don't look particularly impressive. Like City top of the table, and we all know our weaknesses. So unless we enter the market in Jan and sign someone, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Yeah, congrats to Rodri. Big up, big up. Guys, going to end it there. Thank you so much for all the support on this stream, guys. Of course, the super chats from Tinsey and Nazar. but we've also eclipsed over 200 likes, which is what I was after. So thank you so much for that. The next stream, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be tomorrow, 8 o'clock, for Spurs versus Manchester City's Academy. So make sure to join me for that, please, if you would like to, anyway. And analysis videos will be making our return in the near future. I'm just trying to sort out some data stuff to try to make the analysis videos even better. I'm always trying to improve. So please bear with me on that. I'm trying. TLDR, I've got to learn Python, which is like a coding thing, and I'm terrible when it comes to IT and code. I'm an old man at the end of the day, so I'm literally trying to learn Python. So bear with me, but hopefully it will be worth it, and hopefully I'll be able to make some nice, pretty graphics. And I'd love to be able to give out those graphics to you guys on like the Twitter, for example, like so you can see how City performed in a certain match, and you can use the data in arguments with people going, you see, this player did play well because Nobbins' data says so. So please be patient. I hope it will be worth the hassle for me and worth the wait for you guys. Until then, thank you so much for joining. As always, really hope you guys enjoy the stream, and I'll see you all tomorrow for Spurs versus City's babies. Goodbye.